In 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed west and changed the world. Every school child knows the story. But there is something your textbook left out. Something carved in stone. Something buried in the ground. Something that pushes the true discovery of America back by 500 years. And the man who got there first was not a bold explorer seeking glory. He was a stubborn, exiled outcast who had nowhere else to go. His name was Leif Erikson. To understand Leif, you have to understand where he came from. He was the son of Eric the Red, a Norse warrior not known for his good temper. Eric had been banished from Norway for manslaughter, then banished from Iceland for manslaughter again. Exile was the family business. So Eric sailed west into open ocean and found a frozen island he called Greenland, a name historians believe he chose to make it sound more appealing than it was. Leif grew up on the edge of the known world, surrounded by ice and open sea. Around the year 1000, Leif heard a story that stayed with him. A Norse merchant named Bjarni Herjolfsson had been blown off course years earlier and spotted land to the west. Greenland. Forested land. Land no Norse person had ever set foot on. Bjarni had not stopped. He had not landed. He had turned his ship around and sailed home, which makes him either the most sensible or the most frustrating man in Viking history. Leif bought Bjarni's ship. He recruited a crew of 35 men, and he sailed west. What happened next is recorded in two Norse sagas, the Greenlander's saga and the saga of Eric the Red. These are not myths. They are detailed accounts cross-referenced by historians with physical evidence dug from the ground. Leif's crew first landed on a rocky, barren place they called Helluland. Most scholars believe this was Baffin Island in modern Canada. They kept sailing. The next land they called Markland, meaning forest land. Then they found it, a place so remarkable they decided to stay the winter. They called it Vinland, the land of vines, wild grapes, rivers full of salmon, grass that stayed green through the frost. Leif's crew built houses and explored a land 5 centuries away from being called the New World. For a long time, historians treated Vinland as legend. Then in 1960, Norwegian explorer Helge Ingstad and archaeologist Anne Stein Ingstad followed the saga descriptions to the northern tip of Newfoundland. At a place called Lance aux Meadows, they found the remains of Norse buildings, turf walls, iron boat rivets, a bronze cloak pin worn only in Scandinavia. Carbon dating placed the site at around 1000 AD, exactly when the sagas said Leif had been there. This was not folklore. This was archaeology. Norse people had built a settlement on North American soil 500 years before Columbus was born. But the Norse did not stay. Leif's brother Thorvald returned and was killed by an arrow. A later expedition led by a woman named Gudrid and her husband Thorfinn Karlsefni brought over 160 settlers. Gudrid gave birth to a son named Snorri, the first European child recorded as born in the Americas. They stayed 3 years. Then they left. Not because the land was bad. They left because of the people already living there. The Norse called them Skraelings. These were the indigenous inhabitants of North America. At first, there was cautious trade. Red cloth exchanged for animal furs. Then violence broke out. The Norse were outnumbered and far from home. They packed their ships and sailed back to Greenland. Columbus succeeded where Leif's legacy faded, not because he was braver, but because the world behind him had changed. He sailed with the backing of a Spanish monarchy hungry for empire, printing presses to spread the news, and naval power to enforce a claim. Leif sailed from a frozen island with 35 men, and no one waiting to hear what he found. The discovery of America did not happen once. It happened at least twice, and the first time, a son of a twice-exiled killer stepped onto a beach in Newfoundland and decided it was a good place to spend the winter. His name was Leif Erikson, and for 500 years, almost nobody knew.